aren't great at all. I went to my girlfriend's graduation the other day. She got a PhD, which is fantastic. So she's now a doctor, as she keeps on reminding me. She had a graduation ceremony. A speech was given by Ridley Scott, who you may have heard of, one of the most famous directors in Hollywood. Directed Blade Runner, Gladiator, all sorts of things. You would have thought that a guy like that would be, very comfortable in front of a large audience giving a speech. You could barely hear him. His words were not in a great sort of structure at all. And I think that was, even though we had to sit through 600 people getting their degrees and having their hands shaken by the head of the university, I would have much rather sat through 1,200 people doing that than listen to Ridley Scott for another 5 minutes. So I wouldn't take any. I wouldn't really have any worries about starting from scratch. If you don't think you're a good communicator, as long as you have the right principles and you keep practicing, then I think there's a bright future in communicating your message, no matter who you are.
That's really amazing, because what you've actually just sort of brought about is sometimes, it's the small things. You may have a message and it's the right message, but it's the how you deliver the message. Can you imagine, like, what you just said is like big, top guy, and then it's like chewing gum. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a small thing, but it actually makes all the big difference in terms of the how you come across, because people might just remember, I remember a guy like chewing gum. Right? And these are some of the things, because of your expertise in this area, you will pick out and help our listeners. And again, what you just said is like, some people do have or are overconfident. Don't you know who I am? Right? I don't need your training. But what you're saying, it's worth investing the time and the money, right, to get somebody who is experiencing this thing in this area to train you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is a shortcut to success, for sure. I think that with trial and error, it's possible just to sort of keep going and keep practicing, as long as you have the right principles behind you. But I think, whilst doing that, you can make a few mistakes which can possibly damage you quite badly. So it's better to have a grounding with the right training first, and for someone from a third-party standpoint who knows what they're talking about, to be able to let you know where you're going right and where you're going wrong. The chances are the number one thing that we say in media training is to be enthusiastic. And that's where small business people have got a real advantage, and entrepreneurs have got a real advantage over people who are working for larger companies that they don't own, because often they're not passion projects. Those larger businesses, for those people, they're working there because they're probably getting a large salary. They probably have a huge mortgage that they've got to pay, and what they're thinking is, I've got this interview, I better not screw it up, because I don't want to lose my job and have to find another one so I can pay my massive mortgage. And there's a kind of negative pressure going on there. But with entrepreneurs and small business people, your business is your passion invariably. And so that passion has a real opportunity to come flooding out and to infuse the program or the newspaper that you're featuring in, but also the audience as well. So I think that's the sort of secret weapon that it's important to tap into when you're doing an interview, and I hope that your listeners will have naturally.
Yeah, it's interesting because I can speak for myself, having done the whole corporate thing all the way to the top. And in terms
Yeah,
of the energy that I had, but also other people had. But what you said is almost like at the back of your mind, you always want to protect your job, right?
yeah,
There's certain things that I do today that I would never have done. Have I become a different person? No, but as an entrepreneur, I am free to express the who I am and what I believe in, and I am so passionate about it that
yeah,
that whole enthusiasm that just comes across, right? I mean, the thought of owning sort of a radio station, being a radio presenter, then would have been like way out there because I always thought about what impact would it have on my job and my employability, because
yeah.
my whole focus was about my job then and the potential jobs I could get in the future. But right now, I'm in a very, very different place. I'm very enthusiastic and I'm like, yeah, I know I'm going to make mistakes along the way, but at least I tried. And the passion just keeps me going. So
Fantastic.
that's really,
Yeah, that really
so,
comes through. Yeah, for sure.
most
And
definitely.
can I ask you about how your journey's been through your presentation and how you found it at the start and sort of where you are now in terms of feeling comfortable in front of a microphone?
It's actually really amazing because my journey, it's you're now interviewing me, right? I meant to be
Yeah, I know.
interviewing you.
Sorry, I flipped
But
the. I
you're
couldn't
just
help
like
it.
kind of just flipped. You can't help it.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
journey's been interesting because it all started with being, I wanted to speak. I love personal development. I believe in people's everyone has an innate ability to be the very best. But we kind of pick up all these beliefs along the way. And I know that having basically, I normally say, come all the way from Africa and made it in the corporate in UK, people ask, what is it that is different about you? What did you do? And I say, it's very simple. I'm committed to my own personal development. I don't wait. I never waited for my employer to pay for a course for me. If it costs $3,000, I forfeit the $3,000 and pay for the course because it's my own commitment to my personal development. And so when I was made redundant, my mindset was very different. And because it's like the third time I'd been made redundant, I was like, no way, I cannot live like this. And so I went out and started sort of basically what I used to do, but became more open in terms of sharing about my passion for personal development. And I was invited as a guest on radio. The first time, I cannot tell you just how panicky I was. Everything, it was completely alien because from my understanding, right, you had to have gone through the school of journalism. You had to be all of this stuff and all the things that you needed to be before you could get in front of the radio. You had to be an expert in this. And in my mind, I'm just thinking, I've never done this. Who am I? I don't know. All those questions running through my mind. And it was an experience that I had to almost put myself through to overcome it. And first one, second one, third one. And I think it must have been just after the first one, I fell in love with it. I just fell in love with the radio, right? Because obviously I got a recording of the show and I listened to myself. Yes, I was cringing listening to myself because most people are not comfortable with their own voice.
No,
but
absolutely.
once I got about that, I was like, I love this. I was invited on other shows. But on the other hand, I'm actually a speaker. I'm an international speaker, right? So I speak on stage as well. And that again was, there was one time I actually did present at a big event and the person that gave me feedback really broke me. And it took me a little while to get myself out of that and say, I'm better than that. So that's kind of my experience. But once I've transitioned into it and I prepare a lot. So as you know, I will always contact my guests. There'll be a lot of prep that goes behind the scenes. I don't just turn up and say, hey, let's wing this. There's a lot of prep that goes behind the background. But I love it. And I'm growing into it, right? Yeah. And I'm growing and always more than happy to get the training to get better. So that's in a nutshell.
Fantastic. Great. Yeah. Okay, interview over.
Interview over. Excellent.
Yeah.
We are actually going to take a break and we are going to play a a song, and I have to own up and say that doing this, you have to play pod-safe music. So I was racking my brain thinking, what is pod-safe music? So as I said, I'm learning. We're going to be, I'm going to play Searching London, Hugo Kant. Stay with us.
Have you got new fuel elements loaded? Already, the roadblock is about 3,000 feet away. Everyone in that area is pulled back. No traffic allowed in there. The launch area is completely cleared for safety. The only personnel within the 3,000 feet are belonging inside the blockhouse and the test number. Although the alarm has not been given, the time the alarm was needed to count. The vehicle mounted at full speed of 240 tons, and all the automatic systems in the air.
You are listening to SpeakonRadio.com. Be seen, be heard, be present. The place where entrepreneurs, business owners, speakers, authors, actors, politicians, creative people and media experts are empowered and inspired to broadcast their passion. SpeakonRadio.com is a radio platform that has you in mind, bringing you not only inspiration, but practical solutions and opportunities to release your greatness. Tune in now at SpeakonRadio.com. That is, SpeakonRadio.com.
Hi, welcome back. Welcome back. I believe we're live, Peter. Pete, are you live?
I am. I'm still here.
Okay, excellent, excellent. That's really good. Yeah, you're listening to SpeakonRadio.com with Sarah and my guest, Pete Water, who I keep calling Peter. I do apologize.
That's fine. You and my mum, the same.
Sorry?
You and my mum both call me Peter.